Hi friends, Ilya here. I want to tell you about my experience of using the MIDI controller with motorized faders, iCon platform M+. The first impressions, and should you buy it or maybe you shouldn't. If you're watching this video, you've probably looked through different controllers. I will briefly tell you about my experience. A long time ago I had an opportunity to try out this thing as a controller. This is Zoom R16, a recording device primarily, but it can be used as a MIDI controller. But as I found out, there is no use for a controller where the faders are not motorized, and also you should see the channel names in front of you, because such a very popular thing as Behringer BCF 2000, the faders are motorized but there are no channel names, and it is inconvenient in my opinion, and the controller itself is not really nice looking for me at least. So I was looking for a different controller. The original Mackie Control Universal is surely a good, nice, big thing. I didn't know where to put it. I don't have a table big enough, and the price is big also. So I was looking for something more affordable, and I found out Behringer X-Touch a few years ago. It was going to be released. It wasn't released for a long time, and I changed my mind and I decided not to buy it. Also, there is a nice device that was released not long time ago, a PreSonus FaderPort 8, mostly for Studio One, but also a nice looking thing. I've seen a lot of video tutorials where professional mix engineers use Avid Artist Mix. It really looks nice. It is small, thin and good looking. I like it a lot, though it is for Pro Tools mostly, and I use Cubase, and the price is quite high as well. So I bought this controller. This is iCon platform M+. I bought it without the original LCD screen. It has a native LCD screen that is called Platform D2. The Platform D is a shorter version of this screen. The screen is really half the price of controller, so I decided not to order it, and I didn't like the look of it. And the other reason was because I wanted to make the LCD screen myself. I knew how to use Arduino and LCD screens and make a controller protocol, so there are some advantages. You see, 4 screens give a better separation between channels. You can change the brightness, for example. There are more characters on these screens. The original Mackie controller has 56 characters, and these has 16 times 4, 64 characters, so I used the extra characters for showing the volume levels, use them as level meter. I understand that not many of you will probably wish to make their own LCD screens like me, so I suggest you buy the original iCon Platform D, because it is really useful to see channel names in front of you. Briefly, the advantages and disadvantages, in my opinion, of this controller. The advantages are the size, the price. The faders also work quite well. They are not too noisy. The design is minimalistic. You don't have some weird buttons, only what you need. The size is really small. You can put it on the table. It is rather thin, well made. I disassembled it. It looks good in the inside too. The faders feel well. You can change them if you wish. The support replied me in 3 days. It's not too long. The functions that the jog wheel gives you are also really nice. I like the basic functionality. It all works. So really, the controller with motorized faders is a really useful thing for those who want to change the balance quickly, when you want to add something, volume, mute. with two hands is much more efficient than doing it with the mouse. For example, you play a guitar and you can use another hand to change the volume. It's hard to do with the mouse. So you get used to it quickly. A lot of little things that you start to like. So when you mix a lot, this thing is really nice and useful. These are all advantages. The first impressions when I turned it on were not quite nice. The faders behaved bad, they were shaking, they were moving and noisy. I thought, wow, this is not really good. As I found out, it's not only my problem. The first thing they tell you on the forum is to put this controller not into the USB hub but into the computer directly. It helped, the faders started to behave better, but besides that you have to tune the faders. You can change the speed of the faders if you turn icon platform M, pushing the first knob, they start to move, and turning knob number 8, you can change the speed, how fast they move. You can slow them down and speed them up. You should choose the speed that is not too fast and not too quick. After you choose the speed you want, you push knob 8 and the setting is saved. Besides that, on platform M+, you can individually change the speed of each fader. You have to press Rec 3 and turning the knob of each individual fader, you can change the speed for each fader separately. This is only on icon platform M+, not on icon platform M. After you change the speed, you press 8 and everything is saved. I'll turn it off not to change my settings. The right speed for the faders is really important, because if they move slowly, they sometimes don't get where they should be. When they move too fast, they sometimes become shaky and look strange. So trials and errors, you choose the right speed for them to work correctly. By the way, the possibility of changing the individual fader's speed is only in platform M+. As I said before, there is nothing about that in the manual. The manual is thin and not too much information in it. I was looking for the information on the internet, on the forums, and from the support team. The support replied me in 3 days, as I said, not a month, but not too quickly as well. I'm okay with that. They helped me, sent me the video how to tune the individual faders, and I solved my problem. Another thing to tune is the fader sensitivity. If you push knob 2 and turn icon platform on, it goes to fader sensitivity mode. You also turn the knob 8. The more solo buttons light up, the less sensitive the faders become. So you really have to press them so that feel that you touch them. Now they don't really feel it at all. The less solo buttons are lighted up, they feel well that you touch them. If you set the sensitivity too high, there are really errors because of some electromagnetic interferences and so on. This fader, for example, thinks that you touch it, but it's not true. So you have to set the sensitivity so there are no errors and it's sensitive enough. After you set it all up, you push knob 8 and it saves. If you push knob 3 and turn it on, you can see all the LEDs on, so you can see the colors. If you, just like me, want to resolder some of the LEDs to change the colors, you can see it all here. For a Cubase user like me, I'm really used to colors of Cubase. Solo buttons must be red, mute buttons must be yellow, in my opinion. So it's not really convenient to see the read button in red. If you want to resolder the LEDs, just like me, you'll need this size of LEDs. I made a mistake and bought these LEDs. They are smaller. You can solder them as well, but they're too small, really. It is more convenient to use this size. Not only the colors, but also the positions of the buttons was something I wanted to change. I wanted the solo button to be on top and not the select button, so I changed the position of the buttons, and after I changed the position of these buttons with help of the software that is called iMap, you can change the numbers, the MIDI notes they send. Just exchange the MIDI notes that these buttons send in user-defined mode, so that this button on top becomes really solo and button on the bottom becomes select. After you press send data, you update the icon platform M, and after you turn it on, you should select user-defined mode, which is mode 7. This software is also quite buggy. For example, the firmware update doesn't work for me, so the feeling is not good about the software. So I changed the colors of the LEDs on these buttons. The select are blue now, solos are red, like in Cubase, and mute are yellow. Read is green now. This is a matter of taste, of course. Maybe you'll be okay with the original color scheme as well. Another detail about the LEDs is that buttons that are near the button that is lighted up are also lighted up with the light of that button. For example, when you press select to solo, the mute and other buttons are also shining with the light. To fix that, I glued pieces of black tape around each button to separate them from each other, so that light from LEDs doesn't light on the buttons that are the neighbors of the button. These buttons I left untouched to see how bad it was, but these buttons that really light for a long time, I made a screen of tape around them. Another thing that was not really nice is this jog wheel. As you can see on the photo, there is a dimple on the jog wheel, but on another photo there is no dimple on this knob, on this jog wheel, and no dimple on this photo as well. Maybe there are different versions of this controller, of this jog wheel. I've got one that doesn't have a dimple. The knob is rather small and rather slippery. It's hard to leave the finger on it, it slips away. Though the functions are really good, you can scroll through the project, you can scrub it, you can use these zoom buttons to zoom through the tracks, vertical zoom, horizontal zoom, and when you open the mixer you can zoom through the track. This is really nice and convenient, I like it. I thought about changing this knob to a different knob with a dimple, but I couldn't find the right one, and I decided just to glue a piece of rubber on top, so it is not slippery anymore and it's more convenient to use. The fader resolution is not too high, it's from 0 to 127. It's not too bad. The resolution gives you about 0.3 decibel step in Cubase. I don't think this is really bad, but I've seen a better resolution in different faders and know it can be better. The serious problem, in my opinion, is the behavior of these knobs in original Mac. Just like here, they respond to the speed. If you turn them quickly, they give you bigger values, if you turn them slowly, you can turn them precisely, but it doesn't work reliably. Sometimes you turn this knob, you wish to put it to the center, you turn it slowly, you go slowly, and suddenly, wow, it goes 15 plus 15 right or minus 14 left suddenly, and this is, in my opinion, something bad with the firmware, with the device. I could fix this with the help of external script that filters all the messages from this controller and resends them to Cubase, but without using this script, I think this problem is hard to solve. I think this is really a bad behavior for these knobs. Sometimes it froze working with Cubase. I don't know if it is a Cubase problem or iCon Platform M problem, so I had to restart everything. So as you see, this controller has some problems that should be fixed, and in the next video I'll show you how it is possible to fix some of these bugs and to add some additional functionality to it.